There's a lot of plants that only live here, a lot of animals that only at home in Tasmania. And when people come here to visit, they're astonished that we have got this harsh reality between pristine wilderness on the one side, and on the other side of the road there could be a massively clear-felled forest.
This is a Tasmanian logging operation carried out under the Forest Practices Code. This is causing destruction on a massive landscape scale, and it's pumping all of this carbon that should be stored up into the atmosphere, causing climate change and damaging communities right around the planet.
Well, the saddest thing that happens in here is to the wildlife. Devils, there's burrowing crayfish, there's all sorts of animals and insects and birds that live in here. The trees are full of holes that the animals have got somewhere to live in, habitat trees. They'll be clear felled and burnt.
These locked boom gates protect the vile clear-falling operations that you've seen and the killing fields that Tasmania are in there shooting and poisoning native animals. And we've just come out of this coop and we've seen the forestry operators laying out corn bait to induce the native animals to come out of their habitat so that they can shoot them.
For the last 35 years, Tasmania has built up the wood chipping industry. That's export wood chips to turn wood that is not of sawmillable quality into pulp and paper, and that window of opportunity is now closing. Most companies around the world do not want to deal with wood chips from rainforests. Restoration forestry will be the future, by actually saying what should this forest look like in the short, in the medium and in the long term. And by doing that, setting the goalpost that the next generation of forestry workers and foresters can either adopt or dismiss. But by closing down the factory, so to speak, by clear felling a whole forest, it's just right out dumb.
This forest typifies what is really the Tasmanian tragedy. There's been tens of thousands of hectares bulldozed and burnt to feed the wood chip industry. And it's a bitter irony that it's known in Tasmania that if you want to see the biggest temperate rainforest in the southern hemisphere, you go down to the Burnie Wharf and look at the wood chip pile.
The crime in all of this really is that there's no need to be cutting these areas anymore. It's been driven by cheap subsidised wood chip, and I think most people in the community are just horrified when they find out that not only are we cutting these beautiful areas, but the taxpayer's actually paying to do it. There's more than enough timber supply within Tasmania. We've seen large areas that used to be rainforest and eucalypt forest across the state being converted to plantation. There's plantations